Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing? Welcome back to another live stream on the channel. It is never an ordinary day in the day of Leicester City. Of course, a few days ago, it looked very likely that Leicester would have Wilfried Zaha, Adam Hlozek all signed, but now it looks like we're. Um, I think I'm back. Anyway, that kind of sums up Leicester right now. Everything just going wrong, but yeah, we've got a lot to get into tonight. Not really in terms of players coming in. It's more in terms of players who are meant to be coming in who aren't going to be coming in because it's just been a disaster really over 2 days in terms of transfers for Leicester. One of them could potentially still happen. I think Wilfried Zaha is pretty impossible now. That technically is out of Leicester's hands, but no doubt we would have messed up a lot along the line somewhere. And obviously the Adam Hlozek deal, which looked very likely to be happening. Fabrizio Romano said it was 90% done. And it looks like Hoffenheim are looking to hijack that deal, and that could potentially be on as well. So and even if it's not completely true, there's still a chance it comes to Leicester. It's just not ideal, is it? But anyway, boys, make sure to drop a like on the stream, subscribe as well to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Tonight we're gonna have a bit of a discussion about if Leicester are ready for the Premier League or not. I think that's a bit of a stupid question because we are nowhere near ready. I'm going to talk about the ownership, the structure at the club right now, because in my opinion, this transfer window has just been an absolute disaster, especially in the last couple of weeks or so, because we're just not progressing. We're not bringing enough people in, and we're just going to end up getting relegated at this point. But yeah, apart from that, boys, we have hit 4,000 subscribers, so massive thanks for that. We have hit the target before that Tottenham game, so big up for that. Hopefully, we can get to 5K as soon as possible. But yeah, let's get into the chat. Kayla, welcome to the stream. Jerry as well is here. Good to see you, boys. But anyway, into the story itself then before we go and talk about Rudkin and Co. A bit later on in tonight's stream. So yeah, this was the exclusive from Fabrizio Romano a bit earlier on today. Hoffenheim are trying to hijack the Adam Hlozek deal move to Leicester City. Negotiations are already at the final stages, as we know, with Leicester. 20 million option to buy if Leicester managed to stay up this season. That was agreed with Bayer Leverkusen. Hoffenheim are now trying to enter the race. Last minute, for me, this is quite concerning because it's a fellow German club. It would make complete sense, really, for the player. I think Leverkusen are obviously happy for the deal to go through with Leicester, but now Hoffenheim being interested, it just really puts a spanner in the works, really. And this deal could now go on for a few days. I think we all expected this deal to probably be announced, ideally by tonight, before the deadline. We could have potentially seen him play against Tottenham, but that is definitely not going to be happening now, unless Leicester can get this transfer progressed in the next 24 hours. But with John Rudkin in charge, that's not going to be happening. So yeah, that is the latest on that. And then there's a tweet just a few minutes ago, really, discussing this a bit further. And it's not fantastic news. I'm not sure how reliable this is, but Adam Hlozek is not that keen on moving to England. Don't blame him, really. And Hoffenheim now have the money to buy him permanently, rather than the loan deal like Leicester are going for. So yeah, this comes down to Bayer Leverkusen. If they're willing to sell him, it makes complete sense for him to move to Hoffenheim. The player clearly prefers a move to a fellow German side. So in my opinion, I think this deal is going to be very difficult to complete. It's not completely over. There's still a chance that Leicester can get it done because obviously Fabrizio said it's 90% complete. So we have done the vast majority of the negotiations. Still got to wait on the player side. And by the sounds of it, he's not too keen on moving to England. So in my opinion, I think this transfer is going to be very difficult to get done. And I really just hope Leicester are really trying to advance on some other targets because, look, it's the 15th of August. We haven't got too long to go. And we need to bring in still at least 3 to 4 players if Leicester want to have any chance of survival in the Premier League this year. But as of right now, we're not ready. Not ready at all. But yeah, that's the latest on the Adam Hlozek deal. Obviously, we discussed it the other night. If you don't know the type of player, feel free to watch the stream. I think it was Monday or Tuesday night we did it on. Obviously, looks to be a very exciting player. I'm surprised that there isn't more teams interested in him. If he can get it done, it will obviously be a loan deal with an option to buy if Leicester stay up for about 20 million. So yeah, in my opinion, it would have been a fantastic transfer, but it doesn't look like it's going to be happening. No clue how much tickets have gone up by, but it cost me 97 quid for 2 tickets in their one against Everton for Category B. Wow. That is ridiculous, isn't it? I feel sorry for everyone who hasn't got a season ticket. I don't really blame you for not going. Obviously, you've got to travel up as well, aren't you? So yeah, that's going to be expensive to go to home games next season. But yeah, it just sums up Leicester right now. We can't get players in. We're charging fans probably double the prices from last year, probably even more, to watch practically a team who was worse than last year. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And to make matters even worse, it looks like Wilfried Zaha is not going to be coming even. And now, technically, this is away from Leicester. It's out of Leicester's hands, really. I'm not going to go in on Leicester too much tonight. I think we will end up going into them because it's just been so frustrating. But obviously, this dropped from David Ornstein. Interesting enough, Fabrizio hasn't really covered this transfer at all. Of course, a lot of it has been coming from the Turkish press. There's still a slim chance that this deal can happen, but it's more of the case of the player side that he'll have to pay double taxes, I think, if you move back to England. So yeah, Wilfried Zaha resumes Galatasaray training in absence of exit deal. Premier League comeback in jeopardy due to tax implications of return from Turkey. Leicester have worked on a deal, plus Crystal Palace have explored it, but now it's doubtful. So yeah, this is going to be another one which is going to take a long while to complete if it does go through. There's been some interest from Saudi Arabia, so I could see him probably going there. I don't think he'd have the tax issue. If Leicester wants to get rid of this tax issue, I think we have to pay about a 20 million loan fee or something stupid like that. So that's never going to happen. So yeah, I'll be very, very surprised if this deal happened. In terms of Zaha and Hlozek, if there was one to go through, I'll still opt for Hlozek from Bayer Leverkusen. But yeah, I just think it's another massive shame. I think Zaha would have been a fantastic player for us. Yeah, it's just tax issues. That's pretty much it. The implication on the transfer, but it's just one of them again. It's just so frustrating how we've seemed to have two deals almost complete from the start of the week, and now we're on Thursday and we've got none of them. So yeah, it's so frustrating. So frustrating. I really hope Leicester, just like I said, can now really go into the progress and try and get some other targets through the door because just like I said, there isn't long left now. No chance we get him. Yeah, part of me still hopes there is a little chance, maybe like 5% chance, but yeah, it's going to be very difficult to get Wilfried Zaha in through the door at Leicester City. Just to break down the deal, the reason why Leicester can't get him. It's not from the most reliable sources, but everyone's been saying this really. So yeah, Galatasaray and Leicester have an agreement, and it's ongoing. Zaha has an issue with his salary/tax system in England, and his agent is trying to resolve it. Zaha's side says Zaha has established a company in England in the past years and evaded taxes. That there was a problem with the salary tax ratio. So yeah, just government rubbish really. As far as his taxes, so yeah, it's not going to happen. And if it does happen, it's going to be a very, you know, it's going to be a transfer which is going to take Leicester a long time to process, a long time to get done, and it's only a loan deal. So yeah, I think Leicester will back out of this and try and move on to somebody else. But yeah, massive shame. But what can we really? You can't really do anything about it. But we should have got wingers in before this. Anyway, which leads me on to this point. I'm going to get into it now because I think we've gone through the main bits. I think this tweet is absolutely spot on. It's about John Rudkin. I put him in the thumbnail tonight for obvious reasons. Now, obviously, it isn't just John Rudkin, but the vast majority of it, is John Rudkin as a director. So, and I think a lot of it goes on King Power on top as well. This guy should have been sacked years ago. Year after year, recent times he's failed us. He's appointed a cheap manager. We buy cheap players. Our squad is the weakest in the league, and he cannot get a deal over the line. Shambolic yet again, Rudkin. And I completely agree. Really, I think something needs to change. I think as a fan base, we are a bit soft in terms of forcing stuff. I think this season we need to ramp up and even protest at times. Obviously peaceful. We don't need to be smashing stuff up or anything, but I think something needs to change at the club because the longer this goes on, we're just going to keep going. Keep digging ourselves into a hole, and if this carries on, we are going to go down. There's no doubt about it. We need to bring in more players if we want to have a chance of survival. We go down, it's going to be very difficult to come up. Look at Leeds; they stayed down, and their squad's getting ripped apart. And I think it's going to be difficult for Leeds to get promoted this season, which is quite funny. But that could have been well with us, and it still could be us in the next couple of years. But Top just needs to do something. And if Top's not willing to sack him, I'd genuinely say sell the club because with Rudkin in charge, I just can't see us progressing at all. And people will say, yes, he got us Champions League or whatever, won us the league, etc. But I think a lot of that was Vichai, to be perfectly honest. He's made some good moves at times, but these past couple of years, the transfers have been absolutely awful. I think last year wasn't awful, but this year we just can't get stuff over the line. It's happening far too many times now, and there just seems to be no transparency between the board and the manager. If you look at the if you look at the Sensi transfer in January, that looked like it was going to be happening, and then suddenly it didn't because Rookin realised, oh, we don't have enough money, or PSR and that type of thing. And PSR is probably their fault as well because we spent money in terms of finishing 7th and we came 18th, I think it was. And that obviously ruined us, and that made last season incredibly difficult. Obviously, we got the point deduction on the way. There was a report about that the other day saying that Leicester are hopeful that it won't be 6 points, and their reasoning is that, oh, we weren't prepared to lose as many games as we did and got relegated. So I think that is a pretty pathetic excuse from the club if that goes forward. If it can be 6 points max, I'm not going to complain with that at all. I think that's probably going to be our best result. But then again, obviously the club are arguing it, trying to cover up their own mistakes, which they've made the mistakes. I don't know why they just don't own up to it. It's obvious that we break the rules. And it looks like this whole process in terms of the points deduction is going to be going on for more. It's going to be going on for the next few months, I should say. Can't get the words out tonight, but yeah, I think the whole miss situation is just a complete mess. The point deduction situation is just going to keep going on and on and on. And personally, I'd just rather the Premier League give Leicester the point deduction now. We know where we're standing. We know what we have to achieve. And, at this rate, we're going to be, starting the season. We're going to be mid-December, let's say, and the Premier League gives us a -6 or a -7 or 8 or whatever it could be. And in my opinion, that is the worst time to get it. I'd rather just get it now. But it looks like the club are going to try and battle it, which is only going to make matters worse, in my opinion. Obviously, if we can't get away with it, that would be fantastic news. But I think it'd be very difficult to really do that. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think everyone's frustrated right now in terms of the club and what's going on. But it's all right, guys, because we can have our free can of Chang beer before the first game of the season. Joke. But yeah, everyone wants it gone. I guess that's the question. Goes to top, but it doesn't look like anything's going to be changing anytime soon, really, does it? I agree. To be perfectly honest, I think something has to change, and that could well be in terms of ownership as well. As of right now, honestly, I wouldn't be too against changing ownership. Obviously, what you want to get someone in who cares about the football club, but in terms of the decision making from top as well in the last couple of seasons, if you look at the sacking of Brendan Rodgers, took far too long, and I fear that could happen this year again. And even in terms of getting Steve Cooper, now I hope he does well for us, but it was an easy decision. It was a cheap decision. There was some reports about Graham Potter, and there was even something today saying that Graham Potter wanted Rookin to not be at the club if he wanted to come in and have more control or something over transfers or something like that. I don't know how true it is, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised. And if Leicester had a legitimate chance of getting Graham Potter in, and we didn't, it's just that made me more frustrated. Because believe me, if Leicester had Graham Potter in charge, I think we would be in a better situation in terms of players coming in. But yeah, I still think I don't think it would be ideal either. At the same time, just don't really know where Leicester go from here, because as of right now, I can only really see one outcome this season, and that's relegation. And going into that Tottenham game, I was quite excited to the start of this week, assuming we'd have Zaha coming in and Hlozek. But now I'm kind of feeling, oh, that's just damage limitation, really. It's a free hit. That's not trying to embarrass ourselves. That's, I'd be happy with a 2-0 loss at this point. But you know what I mean? It's just not the great way to go into the season. And, especially when your team got promoted last year, there should be a real high. But it seems that since that Preston game, everything's just been going downhill for Leicester. Obviously, Maresca left us. Obviously, Dewsbury Hall left. We've had the poor pre-season. We've had the poor transfers, albeit the start of the window was quite good from the club, in my opinion. But yeah, obviously, Buonanotte came in. I think that's a smart bit of business. But we just need more of that. We just need Buonanotte times 4. Is that going to happen? I can't see it. To be honest, I think the only hope I do have is the fact that it doesn't look like we're particularly close to anybody right now. But then again, when Leicester have signed people, it's come out of nowhere. So I'm just hoping tomorrow we get something saying that someone's close to joining and we can get it over the line and not sit on it for a few weeks and get it hijacked by Hoffenheim, which is obviously the case with Hlozek. But yeah, I'm just frustrated, to be fair, with the club, the decision making the past couple of years. That just keeps going on and nothing's really changing. Anyway, away from the players, in terms of what the players will be wearing this season, obviously looks like the third kit is going to be announced tomorrow. Leicester teased it on their Twitter earlier on. This is what's going to be the away kit, or pretty much just like that. So it's going to be a white strip. Doesn't look too bad. You've got obviously the standard kind of stripe on the shorts, which Adidas have gone for this season. It's just a pretty template kit. But yeah, it's one of them really. I don't think Leicester will be wearing that kit too much this season, obviously on the other away game. But yeah, that's going to be released tomorrow. Obviously, you have to pay about 70 quid for it. But yeah, I think that is pretty much going to be the third kit. Apparently, it's inspired from a retro kit. I don't really know how. But yeah, I think the black is like a black embroidered kind of thing. But yeah, interesting. We'll have to wait and see if we get some better photos of it. But yeah, that is going to be Leicester's third kit next season. So that'll be released by the club tomorrow. Hopefully with Zaha wearing it, but that's not going to be happening. Don't know what Cooper is doing not playing Ricardo. I agree. If he hasn't started Monday, then Cooper, yeah, facts. I think Ricardo is probably our best player, to be perfectly honest, or at least top three. And talking of that, I did create a little thing of the team I probably want to see on Monday night. Obviously this is assuming Dak is out, Vardy's out. So this is a type of team I'll go for. Obviously we'll discuss the Tottenham game in a bit more depth over the next couple of weeks, but I think this is probably our best bet right now in terms of the players we've got. So I'd go with Hermanson in goal. Obviously, I'd put Ricardo at right back. I'd play Faz Vestergaard as a centre back partnership. I think we should stick to what's worked. I think Cody hasn't really been fantastic in pre-season. If he's been good in training, I don't mind if he starts. Obviously, Cody's out. Left back, I'm not Justin's biggest fan, but I just think he's a bit better defensively than Christensen. So I played Justin for this one. At left back, but honestly, I wouldn't be too against Christensen starting. I think Winks and Wilfried Zaha will be the midfield pairing for the vast majority of the season. I've gone with Buonanotte in that cam role. I just hope he can do well for us, really. I think he's the only bit of hope we have right now in terms of creativity. In terms of the striker, obviously, I'm assuming Dak is going to be missing for the game, so it looked like his injury wasn't great. But to be fair, I'd probably rather did he start up top. Vardy is obviously out, and some people will say that let's start with Tom Cannon, but I just don't think he's ready for the Premier League. But if he did start, I wouldn't be against it. But I honestly think Steffi could probably do a better job. I just think he's more used to a higher standard. And obviously out wide, I'd play Fatsu on the left or the right, or in interchange with Deco David Reed. But yeah, I think with Abdul, you could well play him on the right. I think that's probably his more favoured position. But Cooper has, put him on, the left quite a bit this season. So I have to wait and see. But yeah, I think that's probably our best team right now. I think Bobby Reed could be important for us, but I think Monday is going to be a tough game. It's just going to be a case of trying to feed off scraps, trying to grab something from corners. Tottenham are quite weak from set pieces. That could be a potential threat. I think the counter attack is going to be our best output going forward. But then again, Tottenham have got a pacey defence, especially with Van der Ven at centre back. He obviously likes to sit on one striker, and the other centre back kind of blocks the second run. It's an interesting tactical system from Postecoglou. But it's just going to be a case of Leicester trying to sit in, stay strong. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Cooper, brings in someone like Hamza in this role, where I put Buonanotte to play a very defensive midfield, just like that, just to try and shore things up. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if Leicester try and bring the game to Tottenham. It's just going to be a case of sitting in strong and, just like I said, trying to feed off scraps and keep it 0-0 for as long as possible. If we can pick up a point, that'd be a fantastic result. But yeah, I think Monday is going to be a tough one, really tough. And obviously Tottenham seemed to start the season pretty well. Obviously last year I think they went unbeaten in the first 10 games, I think. So can we rely on with Steffi up front though? He's classic cutting in from the wing rather than staying central. Yeah, I think in terms of striker, we haven't really got, we haven't really got anyone really. I can't see Callum starting. I can't see it. I just think Steffi's probably our best option out of a pretty poor bunch. But then again, we're just putting players out of their natural positions, and I think the deadline to get a new player in to be able to play against Tottenham's tomorrow, so that's not going to be happening. So yeah, let's hope Dak is fit. Maybe I don't. Vardy's potentially, I think Vardy's going to be out 100%, and even if Vardy was slightly fit, I don't think he'd probably be starting because he hasn't been involved in pre-season at all, apart from that first game against Villarreal. So apart from that, I don't know. Unless Leicester don't play with a striker at all, that could be a potential option. Obviously, Man City did it a few years ago, playing like a false nine with Foden, but. Yeah, God. Yeah, agreed. There's not much we can do. Shows how badly we need a striker, 100%. And is John Rudking doing anything about it? Absolutely not. So, I feel sorry for Steve Cooper because the first game of the season where usually you've got a fully fit squad to pick from, with now having to play a winger up front at this rate, and obviously injuries are down to that as well. But we should have been more equipped. Obviously, Biletti and actually go. Obviously, he's ended up at Sevilla now. I think it is, which is a decent move for him. But yeah, we are not looking good. In terms of some other news, I think Boubakary Soumaré is going to be out the door as well. There was a report suggesting that he wanted to leave the club. So fair enough, go. He's been pretty poor for us. I think that's quite nice. Saying pretty poor. He's been awful, really. At his time for Leicester. So hopefully he can get a move to somewhere in Europe maybe and bring in some decent money, potentially about 10 million or something like that. I wouldn't say no to that. But yeah, we obviously haven't got long now to reinvest this money from Dewsbury, and last week of the transfer market is going to be completely chaos for Leicester. I think we'll see deals happening daily, potentially players coming in, players departing. It's going to be chaos really on the transfer front, which is not ideal. But I guess there's 3 games before that. So if we can get 3 points from the first 3, I think I'll be quite happy with that, and then we can look to settle after that first international break. But yeah, boys and girls, it's not looking good, is it? It's not looking good. I have a quick look on Twitter just to pray if there's any transfers of any kind, if anyone's coming in. To be fair, I'll probably take Jordan Ayew at this rate because you just need someone. But yeah, talking of Jordan Ayew, I think that's probably going to happen now at this rate. But yeah, there's been nothing on Twitter in terms of the Leicester City transfer news. So yeah, obviously the Premier League is back tomorrow. Man United versus Fulham, so it's good to see football back. And obviously Leicester have to wait all the way to Monday, which is probably going to be a better thing. But I just hope we don't have an awful performance against Tottenham and we can just try and show some signs of some sort of promise. But as of right now, I can't really see it. And are Leicester Premier League ready? Absolutely not. It's just I don't understand how a football club can make such a meal and make such hard work out of anything in these last couple of months in the transfer market. But in terms of my expectations, I think we could probably bring in about 2 players, maybe 3 an absolute push. I think it largely depends on who potentially leaves the club. Obviously, we are looking at a left back, but then again, we potentially need to let someone go there in terms of maybe Luke Thomas or Victor Christensen as well. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. A centre back is potentially needed as well as backup. As we know, we're crying out for a striker, probably 2 at this rate, and obviously another centre midfielder. Potentially we could go back in for Tis Iodonis, but that looks like it's going to be a £25 million deal from Panathinaikos, which is quite heavy for a striker. Who had a good season last year, but is quite unknown. So I think someone like Jordan Ayew, I don't want it to happen, but at this rate, I think that's probably our most likely signing right now. I did see something about Salamanca, so that is still potential. There's still potentials in terms of Steven Bergwijn as well, but I think they are still a very long way away. Obviously, Ipswich are strengthened today in Calvin Phillips, which shows the difference between the 2 sides. I think Ipswich are done well transfer-wise. Southampton are probably on a similar level to Leicester. In terms of the quality of players they are bringing in. But yeah, I just don't think we are too ready at all. I think the squad we have on paper a few years ago wasn't too bad at all, but I think now it's just not the same. But hopefully we can show, the players can put in a good performance against Tottenham. We can try and get something and then try and build a platform to launch from. But a few weeks ago, I thought that Tottenham game, would have a good chance of potentially getting something. First game of the season, you never know. A load of new players on display, potentially a good atmosphere at home. But I think now, if Leicester go 1-2-0 down in the first half an hour, I think the atmosphere is going to turn pretty toxic at the King Power Stadium. And I think Tottenham are the type of team who can potentially run right against you. Obviously you got all the attacking threats. Solanke's joined them now. You got Maddison, who's probably going to 100% put in a good performance against his former side. You've got the obvious threats in Heung-min Son, and Tottenham Leicester is always a fixture which seems to provide the unexpected, to say the least. So yeah, and anything could happen. That could potentially work in Leicester's favour as well. But yeah, I think Monday could potentially be a long night, and obviously we've got a tough trip to Fulham as well after that before wrapping up the first part of the season against Aston Villa at the King Power. So it's not an easy start at all. But yeah, I think first 3 games you could pretty much write off, to be perfectly honest. What's your reception from Alisson going to be? I won't clap him. I'm not going to boo him. I'm just going to do nothing really. Personally, Maddison was one of my favourite players at Leicester when he was here, so I'm not going to boo him. Am I going to clap him? Probably not. I'd clap Maddison if he got subbed off and if Leicester were like 3-0 up, but that's not going to happen. But I'll probably just stay silent. I'll sit on the fence on that one. I did see something about Leicester wanted to get Ben Chilwell back, and I don't think that would go down very well at all. But yeah, I think Maddison's going to be a weird one. Deuce Brewer, I'd probably clap him to be honest. I think Lee, he stayed when Leicester got relegated. He was massive for us last year, and he left really without much choice. To be perfectly honest, so I'd probably clap. Kieran, when he returns, if he's playing, he's probably being the third team when Chelsea arrive on their triple double deckers. And I think we played Chelsea in November, so that's not too long away either. Obviously, Fulham are coming against Castagna, Villa coming up against Tillemans. Palace were playing Jeff Schlupp, but yeah, seems like we're playing a lot of former players. But obviously, there is quite a few ex-Leicester players dotted around. Also, you got Barnes at Newcastle as well. I hope Harvey has a good season. I think that's another one who will get a nice reception. Yuri could be slightly mixed. I think obviously going to Villa, bit of a rivalry-ish. But yeah, be interesting when the Premier does start. But it could be worse. We could be sat in the Championship. We could have lost to Middlesbrough 3-0 last night. Could have lost Somerville. Could have lost Ruta. I'm dying over water again. But yeah, Leicester are in a much better place themselves, to be perfectly honest with you boys. But yeah. I think Barnes will do good, yeah, because when he has played, he seemed to do quite well. I think it was West Ham he scored. I think it's 2 against to get a comeback for them. I think it was in like April when he returned back from his injury. So potentially a nice little FBL shout as well if he gets regular minutes. But we'll have to wait and see. I think Newcastle will be right up there again this season. Obviously, they got Tonali coming back now, first couple of weeks of the season. No European football, but I think the Premier League this year is so strong. You got teams like Bournemouth who spent something like 40 million today on the Porto striker, which is crazy for a team like Bournemouth. But obviously they sold Solanke for about 60 million. I think also Tottenham. So simple reinvestment quick from them when they've done it quickly, unlike some. John Rudkin. You got teams like West Ham who made some very shrewd signings as well this season. I think they'll be fighting for Europe again. Brighton have brought in a load of good players as well. So yeah, I think the quality's rising. It's just I think the Premier League is going to turn into more of a 17 team league at this rate because for the teams who come up, it's so difficult to to really fight really because at this rate the teams even towards the lower end of the table have got such fantastic squads and fantastic the place well in terms of finances. You look at teams like Crystal Palace, Brentford are wanting Fabio Carvalho, which is a good signing for them as well. So it's going to be tough, but we'll talk more about the Premier League as a whole in the season preview. That'll probably be on Saturday or Sunday night, and then obviously we'll have the first matchday vlog of the new season against Tottenham. In terms of vlogs, I didn't manage to get a ticket for Fulham, so there'll be no vlog for that one, but we got tickets for Palace away, so that'll be the first away day. Obviously, we got the Carabao Cup draw last night. We got the rather exciting draw of Tranmere Rovers at home. So that's one to look out for, but potentially a chance for Leicester to get the first win of the season. That's given Stockport vibes from a few years ago when we went all the way to penalties and scraped past them in that one. But yeah, who knows, boys and girls? But I'm just hoping next couple of next 48 hours we can get someone close to joining us and potentially be ready for that second game against Fulham. But in terms of Tottenham, it's not looking good at all. Dawn, welcome to the stream. But yeah, I think every Leicester fan right now is kind of on the same page, which is pretty boring. But I think there'll be some more, disagreements and mixed opinions when the season does finally kick off, which would be good to see. But yeah, boys, I think we've pretty much gone through everything. We wrapped everything up in terms of the news today. I think the main message from today's video is that John Rudkin needs to go and Kuntop needs to do something about it ASAP. Else we're going to keep going down in terms of our league position, and the whole Leicester City are digging themselves in right now. Jesus Christ. But yeah, anyway, boys, make sure to go and drop a like on the stream. As I always say, massively does help the channel out. Big thank you for 4,000 subscribers as well. You boys managed to get that one over the line, unlike Leicester. So big up on that one. If you haven't already, make sure to let me know your thoughts in the chat and everything we've gone through today, and also in the comment section down below. Final comment of the stream. Heavily dependent on the academy players this year, potentially. Obviously, there's been talk around Casey McAteer, who's obviously advanced from the academy a bit now, getting a new contract as well. But yeah, looking at players like Will Alves, etc. I think it's Wendy Ross. I don't think Wendy's gone out on loan yet. Has he? I don't know. But yeah, obviously he could be a potential option as well. But guess that could be a slight positive, but yeah, ideally you want to get some Premier League experience in. But anyway, boys, thanks for coming in. Much appreciated as always. And hopefully, next stream we can be a bit more positive with hopefully some sort of players coming in. But as of right now, God save us for Tottenham at home on Monday night. Could be a long one.